So my plans to record lots of video at IFA didn't really pan out for a whole variety of reasons, but one of the things I was able to do was spend about 45 minutes with the Samsung Galaxy Fold. Now this is Samsung's upcoming foldable phone, and of course, rather famously, it should have been out by now, but the first run of them had really large screen protector issues. And look, I'll be honest, going into this session, my expectations were not terribly high. I like the idea of foldable phones. I can totally see a market for them, but Samsung's early missteps along with the price point really had me thinking, maybe not the version 1. Now also going in, 45 minutes is actually a reasonable amount of time, but there were some rules. First of all, I wasn't allowed to take any benchmarks. Second, I could take photos on the Galaxy Fold, but I couldn't take those photos with me. And lastly, but understandably, I was not allowed to run out of the room cackling like a hyena saying, "Mine, oh mine," because they would have tackled me and stopped me. So, after 45 minutes, what did I think? Well, here's the good stuff. It feels really solid and really pleasing to use. There's a really nice tactility to opening and closing the fold. It feels solid. It feels really, really well made. Whilst those early units may have had some issues, I really didn't pick it during my testing time. And I reckon they will probably sell a few of these purely from people going into stores and going, open and shut, click, open and shut, click, because it has just that pleasing sensation to it. It's genuinely kind of, it's not just fun to do, it feels really, really nice. The continuity between that external screen and then the full tablet size screen works really, really well. It's basically seamless by the time you've actually opened it up. Whatever app you had running on that front screen is running on the main screen. Also, the 3-app window works really, really well, and it actually makes sense of Android tablets in a way that I don't think they have before. You've been able to do multi-window, but it's always been a bit of a bodge. And look, I'm sure that there will be some odd edges to this. Not every app's going to work exactly the way you want it to, but the fact that you can make use of all that extra screen real estate, that you can make sense out of having something that expands out into a larger device, yeah, I had very, very few complaints there. The cameras also seem okay. Samsung, of course, doesn't really do rubbish cameras, but it's perhaps trailed below its competitors in this aspect recently. So what's not so good? Well, first and foremost, that smaller front screen. Every time I folded it up, I was left thinking, wow, I'm looking at a lot of bezel and not a lot of display. And it really does feel as though Samsung will probably do a version 2, a Galaxy Fold 2 or 3, where it goes much more full screen in the style of the Note 10 or the S10. It really does feel very, very titchy by modern smartphone standards. There is a noticeable crease. It's worse when you have certain background colors, but you're going to notice it every time you swipe across. If you are doing something that is actually full screen, then you are going to notice it. Also, the size can present a bit of a challenge when you're trying to use those cameras and certain apps like games, for example. If you've got to swipe across the screen, you're going to hit that crease, you're going to notice it. There's also a bit of an open battery life question. Now, obviously, 45 minutes was not long enough to run the battery down, and I couldn't run any battery benchmarks or anything like that. But Samsung phones in 2019 have not had the best battery life. Their jump up in power has been met with, unfortunately, a bit of a drop in battery life. That's also noticeable against some of their Chinese competitors who admittedly do a lot of really severe battery optimization, killing off apps willy-nilly. Samsung doesn't do that, and your usage may vary. I'm really keen to see basically whether or not this thing can get through a day's usage. Finally, of course, there's the price, and this is really the kicker, because while we don't have Australian pricing as yet, it's not going to land here, based on its overseas pricing, for anything under about $3,000. And look, that could buy you 2 Samsung Galaxy Note 10s. That does make the Galaxy Fold a hard sell. So I walked into my session with the Galaxy Fold feeling fairly cynical, kind of thinking, this probably isn't for me, but I'll be honest, I was fairly sold on that device by the time I came out. I can't wait to get my hands on one for more extended testing, because it really does feel to me as though this could be the start of something special. The Galaxy Fold will not be a phone for everyone, that's for sure. But down the track, once they've refined it a bit, it could be a really great aspirational phone. Thanks for watching. What did you think? Let me know in your comments below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe.